It will be cheaper and more faster for us, and it will help our development as well.
Human capital development tops list of federal government's national agenda.
The House will review the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007.
2024 Appropriations Bill. House of Representatives collates stakeholder opinion as Ministry of Justice opens budget defense at Senate.
AIDS shouldn't be a stigma to anyone.
End mother-to-child transmission by 2030. Nigeria's First Lady advocates at HIV/AIDS Summit in Zimbabwe. Hello and welcome on NTA. I'm Najat Tijani. Remember that this news is always being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. And Hingino John Adams will be joining us in the course of the bulletin from Lagos. Do remember to also follow us across all social media platforms for the latest news. We begin with Nigeria's greatest asset, human capital. The federal government says it is determined to bequeath a country which is firmly on the path of prosperity to ensure youth empowerment and human capital development. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this when he received the management of the National Institute for Security Studies led by Commandant Ayodele Adeleke at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This is the report of a study conducted by 86 participants in the National Institute for Security Studies, Executive Intelligence Management Course 16, with the theme Globalization and Regional Economic Integration, Implications for Sustainable Development in Africa. Vice President Kashim Shettima commended the faculty and members for their efforts, noting that the recommendations of the study align with the perspectives of the Tinubu administration, especially the advocacy for investing in ICT and infrastructure development.
One of the things we talked about is for the need for African continent to be together. Trade among ourselves, it will be cheaper and more faster for us, and it will help our development as well. That's why we are talking about globalization, bringing everything nearer to us rather than be importing. The time wasted in importing goods, it's very expensive to import goods these days. You know that.
The Executive Intelligence Management course is designed to provide strategic level security and intelligence officers with the requisite skills to contribute positively to the implementation of national security policies and national development. The participants were drawn from 35 agencies in Nigeria and 4 other African countries of Chad, the Gambia, Niger and Rwanda. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has applauded the management of a commercial bank for the upward review of its loan scheme for micro, small and medium enterprises from 30 billion to 50 billion naira. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs and Job Creation Office of the Vice President, Temitola Adekunle Johnson, the upward review of the loan is to increase the number of beneficiaries of the bank's loan scheme and make an impact on more livelihoods. The loans will be given to beneficiaries at a discount of 15%, as any further review will be based on the loan performance after a year. Vice President Kashim Shettima appreciates the gesture by the bank and notes its impact of its partnership with the federal government in the MSME space in Nigeria. The House of Representatives has organized a town hall meeting in Abuja to get input from citizens and civil society organizations on the 2024 budget and appropriation process. The Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, at the opening of the citizens' engagement expressed commitment of the National Assembly to address hardship being faced by Nigerians through a transparent and inclusive 2024 budget. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikben reports.
Citizens are in this town hall meeting to deliberate on the 2024 budget estimates, represented by leaders of civil society, and pressure groups.
Most of the civil societies organizations who are here today have come with different priorities on what they feel, should reflect in the budget.
How does it impact on the ordinary Nigerian? That's what we want to see come into this budget.
This is in line with the open parliament policy of the 10th House of Representatives.
To provide you with the opportunity of participation, making inputs, and telling the rest of Nigeria the new dimension of budget process.
I think we still haven't gotten it right in terms of ensuring that our budgets address the issue of wastages, focus on development without what is not necessary.
From today, let us be educated as not like party in Nigerian budgeting system.
Speaker Tajuddin Abbas says this approach of engaging citizens in the budget process will be sustained to eliminate duplication of projects and programs in order to meet the yearnings of Nigerians.
The House will review the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 to strengthen existing provisions, to improve access to information and public consultation during all phases of the budget.
The focus will be on strategic investments in defense, health, job creation.
In all, the objective is to ensure that the budget, when passed, is owned by the people. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA.
Nigeria's drive to promote investment and create opportunities for economic development can only succeed when it has a reliable, well-funded legal system. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi SAN made the submission while defending the 2024 budget proposal of the ministry before the Senate Committee on Justice. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Nigeria's chief law officer, at these engagements with Nigerian lawmakers, directed attention to the multiple roles of the ministry, all of which are tied to adequate funding.
The ministry has been providing legal and non-financial support for combating insecurity through counter-terrorism and anti-money laundering measures, prosecution and prosecution of persons involved in terrorism and other high-profile crimes.
He says the ministry is handling more than 2,000 litigations on behalf of the federal government. It is of concern, he added, that as of now, the ministry received only about 1/5 of its capital budget for 2023.
The Senate has observed that most of our laws are obsolete, and there is a need for us to review these laws to bring them in tandem with the realities of today's society.
The ministry is proposing 8.6 billion naira capital for 2024. The Nigerian Law School, Nigerian Law Reforms Commission, the Legal Aid Council, among other agencies, also emphasized the need for improved funding at the budget defense session. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali.
Nigeria is exploring ways of securing interventions to adequately serve hydroelectric power producing areas and cushion the effects on communities affected as a result of construction of dams. Charles Alpha reports that the Minister of State for Environment, Isaac Salako, and Hyperdeck, on the sidelines of COP28, made a case as to why now is the time for foreign investors to come in.
With keen interest, investors and those of multilateral organizations perhaps willing to commit to this project watched and took notes of presentations from the Minister of State for Environment and the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission as they showcased efforts Nigeria has made, the opportunities and challenges that abound in an attempt to cater for those affected.
We'd like to see more development in that sector to drive the Nigerian potential, which I am told in the excess of 20 megawatts in hydropower alone.
You need to visit the communities for you to know the environmental challenges the communities are facing. And this is something that we don't have enough resources to be able to counter.
Construction of dams have displaced many host communities, particularly in Niger and Kebbi states. Although There has been interventions in Benue and Kwara, with focus now shifting to Kogi. Plateau states, for their own ecological problems, requires partnership to raise the standard of living of host communities. From Dubai, Charles, Alpha, and
Still on COP28, 422 persons were sponsored by the federal government to COP28 in Dubai, says the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. Salihu Gwanara has more.
Minister of Information and National Orientation said the overall Nigerian delegation to COP28 comprises federal and state governments sponsored, private companies, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, media, and the academia. The statement adds that among the federal government delegates are 32 persons representing National Council on Climate Change, Federal Ministry of Environment has 34, all other ministries 167, Presidency 67, Office of the Vice President 9, National Assembly 40, while federal parastatals and agencies had 73 persons. The minister said Nigeria has firmly demonstrated its climate action credentials by being the first African country to launch its energy transition plan, the first African country to issue a sovereign green bond, and one of the first to pass national climate change legislation. Nigeria's representation, he said, is very much in line with the country's status as Africa's leading sovereign voice and player in climate action. He assured Nigerians that President Tinubu and other officials of the federal government delegation are in Dubai for serious business and not a jamboree. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
While the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development and Commonwealth Secretariat have commenced discussions on profitable prospects for deep-sea mining in Nigeria's coastal waters. Visiting the institution, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has identified the solid minerals sector as a pillar of Nigeria's current efforts to diversify the economy, and the Commonwealth as the institution has the expertise to support the administration's efforts. The Commonwealth Senior Director, Trade, Oceans and Natural Resource Department, Paul Kautoki, commends federal government for partnering the organization for such a huge project, noting that Nigeria as a coastal country could explore the profitable prospects of extraction of deep-sea minerals such as copper, cobalt, nickel, gold and rare earth elements. This is the network news on NTA. Stay tuned for more reports. Nigeria's participation at the International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa, ICASA, ongoing in Zimbabwe, has further opened the country to valuable knowledge about the challenges and solutions to the HIV/AIDS pandemic on the continent. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, who stated this at a state dinner organized in honor of participating First Ladies at the conference, says she looks forward to implementing some of the sustainable solutions back in Nigeria, adding that one of the strategies that would be deployed would be working closely with communities to address recurring issues and finding sustainable solutions.
Of stigma and shame, so AIDS shouldn't be a stigma to anyone. We've come a long way with AIDS. It's not just sweeping it under the rug. It's going to affect the next generation of young people. So that is why, when I go home, we have to hype up the campaign through advocacy.
At an interactive panel session held earlier, the First Ladies renewed their commitment to ending mother-to-child HIV/AIDS transmission and eradicating new infections by year 2030. The First Ladies were also treated to Zimbabwean hospitality and taken on the Zambezi River, followed by a visit to the Victoria Waterfalls. The Zambezi is the fourth longest river in Africa and the largest, flowing into the Indian Ocean from Africa. The First Ladies present include that of Botswana, New Jane Masisi, Mozambique, Dr. Isaura Ferraro Nyusi, the host, First Lady of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, and Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, accompanied by First Lady of Ekiti State, Professor Olayemi Oyebanji. Addressing structural and underlying causes of violence, as well as providing and implementing strong legal policy frameworks are some measures which can mitigate the rising trend in sexual-based violence in Nigeria. Momsu Demiandeti reports.
We don't have any effective response without resources. Therefore, I recommend that every state needs a GBV costed action plan. Mainstream GBV funding through key ministries and agencies.
Policymakers, security agents, civil society organizations, as well as key players joined from all sectors across the country, all gathered here to assess the performance of the implementation and enforcement of gender laws in the past years.
All the various indices, the laws, the policies, the indices regarding the numbers that you require to service a state. So now we're looking at how many SAC centers do you need per the population.
Make access to justice to victims of gender-based violence even more accessible. We should also make it cheaper and easier. The Nigerian police has actually taken the lead. We also have DEX officers for gender-based crimes.
Even though there are allocations to the Ministry of Women Affairs, by the time we calculate that per capita of the female population in that state, it is not sufficient for those budgets to be able to address GBV prevention and response for each woman. What that means is that there should be increased budgetary allocation.
The event is in line with this year's theme of the 16 days of activism tagged Invest in Women and Girls. Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
The multitude of young graduates roaming the nation's streets in search of white-collar jobs can reduce drastically through federal government's renewed efforts in upgrading irrigation facilities. The issue was raised at a 3-day national workshop and annual general meeting of the Nigerian National Committee on Irrigation and Drainage in Kano. Yohannes Hassan Barrow was there for NTA News.
Nigeria is gradually restoring to its lost glory in agriculture through emphasis on all-year-round farming. This follows the rehabilitation and construction of irrigation facilities which started more than 5 years ago. Gathered in this hall are officials from the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, water users, people from the academia and other development partners to critically analyze successes and identify challenges for urgent action in the area of irrigation.
In fact, the farm has a large area of land, about 3,850 hectares. So I believe that after this workshop, then all the information that will enable us go back and increase all the activities that will enable the river basin to increase food security.
This is to address climate change because every drop of water counts. We need to enable all the users to utilize the water efficiently.
In charting a way forward to do with the dam infrastructure we have here in Kano, the drainage system we have here in Kano, especially as it conveys water from our major dams.
It is not going to be like before that the operation and maintenance of the irrigation infrastructures was left in the hands of the river basin and federal government.
The participants are expected to cascade the knowledge acquired to other water users. In Kano, Yohannes Hassan Barrow, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has resumed the trial of Boko Haram suspects in Phase 4 of the Kainji prosecution project in Abuja. At the opening of the court session in Abuja, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, noted the federal government in 2017 secured a total of 366 convictions. 896 others were discharged for lack of evidence, while 61 other cases were adjourned for further hearing. The resumption of the prosecution of terrorism suspects marks another step towards ensuring the safety and security of Nigerians. The Attorney General of the Federation stresses that the prosecution is one of the processes of criminal justice administration, giving assurance that the federal government will continue to deploy resources towards enhancing prosecution capabilities. Personally commencing prosecution of the suspects at the resumed hearing this Monday, presided over by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, says the resumption of the trial is in line with Nigeria's commitment to the rule of law, noting that his office will ensure the participation of all relevant agencies towards successful prosecution of suspects. Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani has ordered an immediate and thorough investigation into the misfire incident at Tudumbiri community in Igabi local government area of the state, which claimed some lives. Dauda Muhammad has an update.
The governor, who expressed his dissatisfaction over the incident in a press statement, says the state government is determined to prevent a repeat of such tragedy. He appealed to the affected community and all citizens to keep calm and continue to support the security forces and the state government in the battle against terrorists, bandits, kidnappers and other criminal elements in the state.
And as a result of that, the state deputy governor, Hadiza Sabwa Balarebe, convened an emergency security and stakeholders meeting which was held behind closed doors. At the end of the meeting, the overseeing commissioner for internal security and home affairs, Samuel Arwan, briefed the media on the outcome.
The GOC 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Major General V.U. Okoro, explained that the Nigerian Army was on a routine mission against terrorists, but unfortunately, some members of the Tudumbiri community were affected. Search and rescue efforts are still ongoing, as dozens of injured victims have been evacuated to Barrow Diko Teaching Hospital by the government.
The meeting was attended by heads of security agencies, Chairman Jamaatul Nasrul Islam Kaduna State Chapter and District Head of Rigasa, in whose domain the incident occurred, and other stakeholders. In Kaduna, Dauda Muhammad, NTA News.
Now to politics. The leadership of the governing All Progressives Congress has risen from its 138th National Working Committee meeting with a number of resolutions reached. Top amongst these decisions is the condemnation of the attack by suspected gunmen on the residence of Kogi State INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Gabriel Longpet. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Ago, we rose from the
meeting, which was held behind closed door, lasted for a few hours, and the attack at residence of the Kogi State INEC Rec Gabriel Longpet was widely condemned.
The party also condemned, without reservations, the violent attack on the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Kogi State, Dr. Gabriel Longpet.
Briefing newsmen at the party secretariat, the National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka also announced the postponement of inauguration of APC standing committees earlier scheduled to hold on the 8th of December 2023 till further notice. The party's highest decision-making organ also proposed programs for the off-cycle election in Edo and Ondo states.
On the party's schedule, plan of activities leading up to the 21st September 2024 off-season governorship election in Edo State and the 16th November 2024 governorship election in Ondo State.
Meanwhile, the national leadership of the party also acknowledged the receipt of ratification of appointment into state chapters of the party in Lagos, Nasarawa, Delta and Niger states. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
It's time to join Hingino in Lagos for more updates. Hingino.
Thank you, Najatu.
The most innovative and efficient port terminal in Nigeria, Port and Terminal Multi-Service Limited, PTML, has received the largest container roll-on, roll-off vessel to ever visit Nigeria and West Africa. The ship, named MV Great Lagos, has the compartment to handle more than 2,000 vehicles and another 2,000 containers at full capacity. This, stakeholders believe, will impact positively on shipping business, including reducing the cost of doing business in the country. Michael Olale reports.
Here is another mark of excellence reflecting the world-class capacity of Grimadi Group in the business of integrated sea-based logistics services. An engineering masterpiece with 290 meters in length and deadweight of over 45,000 tons. At the rooftop of MV Great Lagos, this maiden call was celebrated, bringing to reality a major milestone 20 years after the vessel was named. Beyond the massive size of MV Great Lagos are significant economic opportunities, with the Managing Director of Port and Terminal Multi-Service Limited, PTML, believes will be unlocked while setting the pace in the quest for zero carbon emission in the maritime industry.
In the last 1 year alone, we have invested over $20 million to upgrade the facilities you are seeing to receive this ship. We have been extending our quay by over 40 meters while strengthening it to enable us to receive and operate a new mobile harbor crane, which is arriving early next year.
The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, who was represented, is optimistic this initiative will complement efforts at harnessing the potentials in the sector.
The arrival of this great vessel not only signifies the delivery and achievement of our shared vision, but also the continued strength of our alliances in the world of commerce.
It means we are open for business. Our country is moving forward, so let's take that positive energy and project it into all spheres of our lives.
The cost of importation of vehicles into the country will reduce. And then this vessel berthing here shows capacity.
The pride for Nigeria is not only because MV Great Lagos belongs to the G class of vessels recently launched by Grimadi, but also an eye-opener for investors that opportunities abound in the maritime industry. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
The National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, NIMN, has restated its commitment to boosting the marketing industry in the country as the professional body unveils various plans that will scale up its goals, including renewal of members' fellowship come 2024. President and chairman of the institute rolled out some of the plans at a media parley in Lagos. Diana Ajale has details.
Sharing, networking within the marketing industry.
Learning and development initiatives, strategic collaborations, and reimagine the future formed part of discussions at the media parley by the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, aimed at repositioning the professional body for effective service delivery.
We've presented a roadmap, and come 2028, the average marketer in this country will be a business leader.
The meeting had breakout sections where newsmen and marketing professionals rubbed minds on challenges facing marketing as a profession and the way forward.
The main objective is to promote and develop the art and science of marketing learning, and also to standardize the aspect of marketing as a profession in Nigeria.
Fellows of the Institute believe strategies put in place to reposition the professional body are apt.
Rebranding NIMN means that the future is going to be better than what it has always been.
It's going to place NIMN in the rightful position as the authority and the regulatory body of NIMN in Nigeria.
Issues raised at the meeting include implementation of the Institute's new curriculum, changing the nation's marketing industry landscape, as well as ensuring that members are well equipped with necessary skills and knowledge to excel in their respective fields. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Musa is standing by with business news, but that will be after this break.
Thanks for rejoining NTA Network News. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. President of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Ken Opara, says he's confident deposit money banks in Nigeria are ready for recapitalization should the Apex Bank embark on it to support the federal government's targeted $1 trillion economy.
Capitalization, a necessary thing. But let me say that even before then, banks have been proactive in increasing their business capital, because essentially, if you look at before, it was difficult for a single bank to fund a major transaction. They have to come in as a syndicate. But right now, because of the fact that banks have increased their capital base, they've already taken steps to fund those transactions, and this will continue to be. So there's no cause for alarm that whether banks are going to increase the capital base. They've already proactively doing that.
The capital market, equities market, and first weekday of trade in red, with investors recording more than 258 billion naira loss. The L-share index shed 0.66% to close trading at 70,946.83 basis point. A total of 358.5 million securities worth 7.1 billion naira were traded in 6,433 deals, as market capitalization fell to 38.8 trillion naira. Universal Insurance PLC, Transcorp and Guarantee Trust Holding Company dominate activities at the end of this session. Well, as the news continues with Najat.
Thank you, Musa. And we head to Gombe State, where construction of a befitting state assembly, high court complexes and a new state secretariat are among capital projects captured in the 2024 budget estimate of Gombe State. Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya presented a budget estimate of more than 207 billion naira to the state assembly. Abaz Mekano reports.
The budget of continuation, the 2024 Gombe State Budget Estimate, which is the first in the second tenure of Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya, is to consolidate on the gains recorded in the healthcare services, educational development, roads construction, and socio-economic development of the people of the state. Out of the total estimate of over 207 billion naira, 42% amounting to over 87 billion naira is for recurrent expenditure, while the sum of 120 billion naira, which is 58% of the total budget estimate, is allocated to capital expenditure.
Domestic grants, 5 billion. External grants, 7.5 billion. External credit, 23.75 billion. And domestic borrowing,
the governor explained that a number of people's-oriented projects have been captured in the 2024 budget estimate that includes construction of Gombe State Secretariat, High Court and State House for Assembly complexes, as well as construction of more urban and rural roads. Speaker of the State House for Assembly, Abubakar Mohammed Lugero, who acknowledged the ability of the governor in achieving 58% performance in the last budget estimate, assured the speedy passage of the 2024 budget into law to enable the executive record more achievements. The atmosphere of peace and investor-friendly environment created by the state government, as well as level of public infrastructural development achieved, were some of the parameters used in rating the state high in ease of doing business indices, transparency and integrity, as well as fiscal responsibility. In Gombe, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
Stay tuned for more news right after this timeout. The Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, has expressed sorrow over the erroneous killing of citizens at Tudunbiri community in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Musa Kirshi, the Speaker is disturbed by the incident and calls for thorough investigation by the Nigerian Army to determine what led to such a costly mistake. The Speaker also sends his heartfelt condolences to the good people and government of Kaduna State, especially those who lost their loved ones in Tudumbiri community. The National Information Technology Development Agency's iHatch incubation program, the second cohort, ends with innovators creating market-ready digital products. Chimdima Undubisi reports that 3 out of 8 solutions have stood out, winning thousands of dollars each.
6 months ago, Abdul Malik was an innovator with just ideas on how to develop a gadget that will aid in diabetes care. But after participating in NITDA's second cohort iHatch incubation program powered by Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA, his idea was translated into a tangible product ready for the market. He's also smiling home with $15,000 as the first prize winner. Solutions for maternal child care and improved learning for students won second and third positions with $12,000 and $10,000 prizes.
So we're getting the first MVP out as soon as possible, get feedback and build from there. So that way we are building for the customer.
All the solutions were designed with computers and printed with the 3D printers at the Digital Fabrication Laboratory.
This resonates with what we are trying to do in promoting additive manufacturing.
We will continue to provide support through initiatives such as iHatch and JBridge.
In another development, NITDA has commenced the Emerging Technology for All training program at NYSC camps.
We will have courses on IoT, we will have courses on big data analytics, we will have courses on artificial intelligence.
This is to build up a skills hub that will meet up with the artificial intelligence economy of the future. In Abuja, Chibdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Known for championing sports, the Nigerian Television Authority says it will continue to support the sporting activities of Team NTA with necessary incentives to sustain its leading role in the industry. The Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, gave the assurance when he formally received trophies won by the NTA football team at the 2023 Swan Intermedia Sports Competition for the 6th consecutive time. Tope Alabi reports.
The slogan, "You can't beat the rich," came to play at football pitch and tennis court where NTA teams topped the 2023 FCT Swan Week sports competitions. NTA football team has remained indomitable for the 6th consecutive time, defeating FRCN by a lone goal to retain the title. At a formal presentation of the trophies to the NTA management, the Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos commended the teams for their resilience and consistency.
On the part of the management, we will, of course, give you all the necessary support that you require, including, of course, the best motivation, I think, will be to observe the rest of you that are on contract. We'll be cutting away with the sum of 500,000 naira.
Teams appreciated NTA management for supporting them to succeed and thanked the DG for facilitating contract members to secure permanent and pensionable appointments.
It's one thing to win the trophy, it's another thing for that trophy to get the acceptance of the management. And with this kind of acceptance that we have received over these past 6 years, one cannot but be committed to winning more.
Apart from retaining the coveted trophies, NTA team also won the most valuable team of the tournament. In Abuja, Tope Alabi, NTA News.
Nigeria's under-17 female volleyball team edges closer to the finals. Austin Edemodu has details and more on Sports Update.
Confederation of African Football (CAF) has awarded the television rights to Pan-African broadcaster New World TV for CAF's free-to-air and pay TV for English and local languages for the sub-Saharan territories for CAF competition event from 2023 to 2025. Several broadcasters and agencies took part in the highly competitive tender process, which was ultimately won by the New World Television. Elsewhere, Mancomen's Polo Club emerged winners of the 6-day Open Polo tournament after beating Kefi Ponies Club 6-5 in 4 checkers at the Kefi Polo Ranch. The tournament, which had in attendance polo enthusiasts from all walks of life, is in support of education of orphans and out-of-school children in Nasarawa State.
Sports makes a rounded development of the youth, and therefore the facilities are going to be upgraded to ensure maximum and productive performance of the youths.
Leveraging on polo to add value to education, and from 2015 to now we have done so much in that regard.
Very competitive and very friendly atmosphere.
Finally, Team Nigerian Military Wrestling contingent to the 36th World Military Wrestling Championship in Baku, Azerbaijan, are back in the country after podium finishes with 1 gold and 1 silver medals.
Next is to keep training, because going there, winning, becoming a champion is, yes, first to start with is good, but after winning there is more expectations.
Even next year, by the special grace of God, there's another World Wrestling Championship coming in Albania. So we are preparing.
The team hopes to improve on their performance at the championship in subsequent international competitions. With Sports Update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Let's check out the weather forecast for Tuesday.
Good to have you join us. We expect the weather to be stable across most parts of the country, as sunny and hazy skies are expected across the northern parts of the country and most places in the central cities, while sunny skies with few patches of cloud is anticipated across southern Taraba, Kwara, Kogi, Benue, extending to the southern half of the country. We also have possibility of isolated thunderstorms later in the day across parts of Edo, southern Ondo, Imo, Abia, and the southeast coastal cities. I leave you with the weather forecast across some selected cities. Thank you for watching.
And the weather forecast concludes the news on NTA Network News. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Najaa Atutujani.